In the modern world, the importance of the environment is assumed by many of us, especially those of us who identify as environmentalists. As we saw in the previous episode, romantic ideals are largely the root of this inherent value argument regarding the importance of nature. Romanticism, in turn, is the descendant of many other phases of Western philosophy. From an anthropocentric or human-centered perspective, the inherent value argument holds little weight. In this episode, we will be discussing the value of nature from an exploitative perspective, why nature is important in regards to what it gives us. Although I believe there is a strong philosophical and spiritual basis for the inherent value argument, few people will prioritize why nature is valuable from a biocentric perspective over why it is valuable from an anthropocentric one. This is because, as a society, we generally make decisions based on how the results of said decisions can benefit humans. Accordingly, the points discussed in this video are largely considered to be the motivation for environmental policy. Having a basic understanding of the anthropocentric argument for nature's value is therefore important for the student and layman alike. By the end of this episode, you should be able to answer these questions. Even from an anthropocentric perspective, nature is essential for the mental and physical well-being of humans. Scientists have described the anthropocentric value of nature through the concept of ecosystem services. Ecosystem services are, simply put, services provided by the natural world that benefit humans. Most ecologists and environmental scientists argue that ecosystems with high biodiversity are more capable of providing more and higher quality ecosystem services. As stated in the 4th National Climate Assessment, which is made by the U.S. government, biodiversity and ecosystem services are intrinsically linked. Biodiversity contributes to the processes that underpin ecosystem services. Therefore, preserving the biodiversity of natural habitats is vital if we hope to keep obtaining the benefits that we do from the natural world. We will cover the issue of biodiversity loss quite a bit more in the next episode when we begin discussing the modern environmental crisis. Ecosystem services underlie the global economy and have done so for all of human existence. Our dependence on these services is why the natural world has been such an essential part of human culture and spirituality for all of history. Some economists have attempted to even place a price on the global economic services, basically quantifying how much it would cost the human race to do all the jobs that nature already does for free. These studies have claimed that the total cost of ecosystem services would be somewhere between $16 to $54 trillion each year, with an average around $33 trillion. For reference, the federal spending of the USA in 2021 was $10 trillion. The cost of doing nature's jobs ourselves is probably considered to be the strongest support for the anthropocentric argument for nature's value. No one can deny the cold hard economics of $33 trillion annually. However, many economists have argued against the concept of ecosystem service valuation, since it is nearly impossible to quantify the value of something as heterogeneously distributed and as essential for human survival as ecosystem services. One economist has even stated these estimates for the global value of ecosystem services are a serious underestimate of infinity. An accurate estimate for the total cost of ecosystem services may indeed be relatively incalculable. However, it is without question that without their normal functioning, modern society would be practically impossible, and human life would be much more challenging and expensive. The fact that these invaluable services are completely free is probably one of the key reasons we have, as a species, generally exploited them to the greatest extent we possibly can. In the next episode, we will begin to explore how this exploitation and the production of waste have disrupted the normal functioning of ecosystems, endangering our ability to use and appreciate Earth's resources and services. Ecosystem services are generally broken up into 4 categories, which divide these services according to how they are used by humans. Provisioning services are benefits obtained from the natural world through the direct extraction of natural resources. These services provide us with many of the foods that we eat, the spices we cook with, the wood we use to construct our houses, as well as many other resources that are important for human existence. In addition, ecological systems provide energy to much of the world through hydropower and biomass fuels. Another important and perhaps less expected provisioning service is medicinal resources. Most of the world's most important pharmaceuticals, including aspirin, penicillin, and morphine, have been derived from or inspired by chemicals produced by living things. Scientists have taken countless different chemicals, which are relatively scarce in nature, and through analysis and chemical synthesis, have created many of the drugs that form the basis of modern medicine. One can see the potential value of this service when one considers that there are roughly 9 million species of living things on this planet, most of which, around 90%, are undocumented and undescribed. For a bit more information on this topic, check out the links in the description. I have some really fascinating resources if you want to learn more. Each of these species on planet Earth has the potential of producing some chemical that can be used to produce a revolutionary pharmaceutical. This is especially relevant today as antibiotic-resistant sicknesses have increasingly become a concern in our globalized society. Unknown alternative antibiotics produced by certain organisms can be found in the natural world and analyzed by scientists to combat this threat. It really is mind-numbing to consider the vast amounts of potential medicines that can be inspired or based on naturally occurring chemicals. The natural world truly forms the basis for our modern way of life through our extractive, direct use of it. Without these services, our way of life would simply not be possible, or at the very least, it would be much different than it is today. Although humans can indeed produce many of the natural resources we get from nature on farms, we will see a little bit later how the biodiversity of ecosystems dramatically increases their productive capabilities. This, combined with the fact that we obtain these resources from nature for free, makes it so that our modern economy is dependent on our extractive use of nature through provisioning services. Regulating services are indirect benefits that we obtain through nature's regulation of natural processes and systems. These are all services provided to us by nature that we, for the most part, take for granted. From the purification of water and air, to carbon sequestration, to waste decomposition and detoxification, nature provides us with many essential services that would otherwise cost us a significant amount of capital and labor. For a specifically poignant example of regulating services, check out biodegradation and detoxification of environmental pollutants, which I'll have linked in the description below. In addition, nature protects us from disturbances such as floods and invasive species, which we would have to learn how to remediate without the biosphere's proper functioning. Without healthy and biodiverse ecosystems, the task of regulating animal populations, pollination, pest extermination, and disease control would also fall on us. Although we don't have quite enough time in this video to go over the details of these really complex natural systems, I recommend skimming over ecosystem functions and services, which is also linked in the description, if you're interested in learning a little more and a little more in depth about regulating services. Some studies have shown that increased biodiversity enhances crop production. To me, this evidence suggests that high biodiversity ecosystems, which in turn allow for regulating ecosystem services, are an important consideration on our quest to meet modern agricultural productivity needs. I would even argue that the connection between regulating ecosystem services and biodiversity is responsible for the increased crop productivity in more biodiverse areas. Although the indirect benefits of regulating ecosystem services may be a bit more abstract than those of provisioning services, it is clear that they are just as important to our society. Without them, we would have to learn how to do many of these services, such as pollination and population regulation, on a global scale, which honestly seems nearly impossible. In all, without regulating services, the Earth would be much less hospitable to humans than it is today. In addition, through enhancing biodiversity in agricultural areas, we may even be able to increase global agricultural productivity. Supporting services allow for ecosystems to continue to provide other ecosystem services. Although some scientists consider this category to be redundant due to heavy overlap with regulating services, it is still used by most scientists. A few examples of supporting services are nutrient cycling, primary production, soil formation, and habitat creation, all of which allow for different regulating and provisioning services. For instance, without nutrient cycling and soil formation, we wouldn't be able to harvest timber from forests, which is a provisioning service. It is important to note here that ecosystems are truly capable of supporting themselves and providing us with ecosystem services all by themselves. They don't need any management to do so. However, when we over-extract and/or introduce harmful chemicals into the environment, it limits ecosystems' ability to do so. To continue to take advantage of Earth's resources and services, we must both reduce our impact on the environment and invest in ecosystem biodiversity. Projects such as species reintroduction and restoration work allows the natural world to heal and rebound from the damage that we have historically inflicted upon it. These projects support the normal functioning of supporting services, which in turn support the normal functioning of ecosystems. Cultural services are mental and social benefits gained through interaction with nature. These services are much more personal and intuitive than the others, as we all experience them directly each time we go out into a natural space. Even though these benefits are much more individual and spiritual than those obtained from the other types of services, they should not be taken lightly. The mental and physical benefits of interacting with nature have been shown empirically in a plethora of different studies, and the field of environmental psychology is a new and blossoming discipline. Those who interact with nature through outdoor recreation, such as hiking, have been shown to subjectively experience stress less than those who don't, and spending time in natural spaces seems to lessen the severity of symptoms of anxiety, depression, and hyperactivity disorders. This research has given rise to the concept of ecotherapy, the idea that simply spending time outside can be used as a therapeutic device. Some studies have also shown that interaction with nature throughout childhood can promote a healthier and more active lifestyle. Personally, I can say with confidence that my own relationship with nature has completely changed the way I view myself and the world. Although I didn't grow up camping or hiking, I began to do so about 3 years ago, and my experiences in nature since then have been instrumental for my mental and spiritual growth. Going hiking with my friends has become one of my favorite activities, and spending time outdoors never fails to clear my head. Whenever I'm feeling a bit anxious, busy-minded, or lacking inspiration, going outside and meditating for a couple minutes in the wilderness always snaps me out of my head and back into reality. It may sound exaggerated, but simply taking a walk alone in a natural space can truly do wonders to rejuvenate your body and mind. Cultural services also include benefits such as educational and recreational opportunities. Around the U.S., there are many nature schools popping up that teach children basic naturalist skills, and in many areas, nature-based summer camps are quite popular. Personally, I remember that I made some of my best memories of my childhood during 5th grade science camp. Topics in geology and biology can be taught through hands-on experience in natural spaces, providing students with an engaging medium through which they can learn STEM topics. Being out in nature also provides endless entertainment to children in a world where the younger generations are becoming increasingly caught up in an addiction to social media and technology. It stokes the flame of curiosity and gives them a chance to be active and connect with nature, a process that pays dividends as you grow older. Agricultural services are also important to the economy of many nations which are dependent on ecotourism. In Costa Rica, ecotourism is one of the most important industries. International tourists added $2.4 billion to the economy in 2012 alone. Clearly, cultural services show how the benefits derived from the natural world are not all obtained through extraction. Many of the most important ecosystem services are personal and impact us on an emotional level in a way that promotes mental growth. I challenge you to go outside and experience some of these amazing ecosystem services we have access to. Even if you don't have a completely wild area near you, walking through a park or even spending some time in your backyard will show you just how ever-present these services are. Getting out of the house and walking through a natural space will do wonders for your mental health, even if you aren't entirely aware of the benefits. I think getting out of the house and exploring natural areas is also essential because it gives us a bit of time away from the busyness and the overstimulation of modern life. Even taking a short morning walk every day, leaving your phone at home, will make a big impact on how you think and feel. Try it out. As you can now see, nature is essential for human society for other than moral or aesthetic reasons. Ecosystem services are vital for human survival. They give us food to eat and wood to build our homes with. They clean our land, water, and air. They provide us with a place to go in times of stress, and they even protect us from natural disturbances. Modern environmental science has shown us that by disrupting natural systems, we are directly impacting the biosphere's ability to maintain the ecosystem services we so depend on. High biodiversity ecosystems and functional biogeochemical cycles are both necessary for us to be able to continue to take advantage of the benefits provided to us by Mother Earth. Therefore, protecting the normal functioning of natural systems is of the utmost importance in the years to come if we wish to continue to enjoy the benefits of the natural world. Disrupting the normal functioning of natural systems can also lead to the generation of environmental issues that endanger our society and the larger-scale functioning of the biosphere. In this way, there is no real dichotomy between anthropocentrism and biocentrism as it probably seemed in the beginning of the episode. What is good for all living things is in fact good for human society. In the next episode, we will start to explore the issues that we have indirectly caused through our exploitation of ecosystem services and the creation of waste. It is becoming increasingly clear that human society must begin to consider these issues more carefully and take decisive action, as each year that passes brings on more evidence that the Earth has been thrown out of whack due to our impact. The first step towards action is always understanding, which is exactly what we have and will be pursuing through this series. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment below and feel free to check out the links I've posted in the description if you want a little more detail about the topics we discussed or if you just want to check my sources. Thank you again. Have a fantastic day. See you soon.